Hello, today I'm going to be doing another Scottish video, and today I'm going to be covering some slang words that you might hear and you might not understand what they mean because of the way we pronounce them. Now, my accent is from Coatbridge, which is in the Glasgow area, so if you're planning on travelling around Glasgow you may hear people speak like this quite a lot, and I hope that this video helps you understand what we're saying. With that being said, I hope you understand what I'm saying right now, because if you don't understand what I'm saying now, you're not going to understand the rest of the video. Let's get into it. The first word is does. A lot of the time in Scotland you'll hear people say does, so instead of saying does it, we'll say does it. So the next word is you, your and yourself. So I would say ye, yer and yoursel. So instead of saying yourself, I cut the F off the end and I say ye, so I say yoursel. So an example of this would be, are you going there yourself? Leading on from that, you just heard me saying, are you going there? So what I would actually say is, are you going? And I would change a to are. I realise that a lot of this might sound confusing, but basically in Scotland we tend to switch vowels over, cut the ends off the words. For example, we don't say ing, so we just cut the ing off, or we just cut the last letter off, and sometimes we add a letter on. For example, instead of saying can't, I might say canny. So if someone asks me to do something, I might say I can't do that. One thing that I don't say but a lot of other people say is they change do to day. So instead of saying I can't do that, they would say I can't do that. As you probably heard in that sentence as well, I didn't say I can't, I said I can't, so I changed the I to an A. So with that in mind, instead of me saying I would say ah, and instead of saying I'm or I am, I would say am. So something that's very common where I live is describing where you're going. So for example, if someone would say I'm going to the shop, I would say I'm going down the shop. Or there's actually a main street near where I live, and if we're going there for shopping, we would say I'm going up the street. This is the case for a lot of things. For example, if someone was going to the pub, they would say I'm going down the pub. Or if they were going to the main street to Asda, they'd maybe say I'm going up to Asda. Something that I've mentioned in a previous Scottish accent video is today and tomorrow. So we would take away the two and add the. For example, the day and the morrow. And as you heard there, I didn't say the morrow, I said mora. So it's the mora. That's the same case with at night. You would say what you up to the night. So once you've decided if you're going down the shop or up the street, you're probably going there to get some shopping. And where I live, we call shopping messages. So you would say I'm going to Asda for some messages, or I'm going down the shop for some messages. So the next two words are what and was. So as I've mentioned before, Scottish people tend to just change the vowels round, kind of just to suit themselves. So instead of saying what and was, I would say what and was. So instead of saying what was it, I would say what was it. Another example of kind of changing vowels to suit yourself is maybe. So instead of saying maybe, I would say maybe. Woman would be woman. Now I don't always say woman. Like if I had to see a man and a woman, I would say I seen a man and a woman. But if I'm talking about somebody and I'll maybe say, oh, I seen that woman up the street. So it really just depends on the context. A window would be a window. Had would be had. Somebody becomes somebody, as in some and then day. Since you know that do, you and yes is day, ye, I, you can use this as a comeback or to just be cheeky to somebody. For example, if someone's telling you a story and you don't believe them, so if they come in and they say, oh, I was out last night and I took this lassie home and we were doing this and that, you can go, did you, aye? And basically you're saying, why are you talking crap? Why are you lying? Or you can say, did you, aye? And that means I'm not really interested. So these three words can be used in many ways, and you can change some of the words around just depending on the situation. So For example, if someone's sitting telling you that they make 60 grand at their job and you know that they're talking crap, then you can say, do you aye? And that means, why aye? And don't be afraid to use it when they're speaking about other people as well. Like if they're telling you a story about their mum, you can say, did she aye? Or did they aye? And like me and my friend actually say this all the time. Even if we're talking to each other about any story, we'll always just turn around and go, did you aye? Now that doesn't mean to say that if you're telling somebody a story while you're over here and your friend turns around and says, oh did you aye? That they're being cheeky, because you can mean that as in just asking, but it just depends on the tone of voice and the face that they're making. So, you know, just watch out for that. Another word where we just randomly change the vowel would be for, and I would say for. So instead of saying what for, I would say what for. Instead of saying get, I would say get. So if you went to the shop and bought something and you came back, I would say, what did you get? The word think would be changed to hink. You just totally cut off the T, just pretend it doesn't exist. You don't think anything, you just hink from now on. The word to sometimes becomes te, or just a Y at the end of a word. So example, instead of saying what are you up to, I would say what are you up to? Or instead of saying I'm going down to the shop, I would say I'm going down to the shop. Going to would become going to, as in I'm going to the shop. A slightly different example of this would be out of. So instead of saying we are out of milk, I would say we're out of milk. The last set of words that I'll be covering are a comparison between Coatbridge and Airdrie accent, and Airdrie is the town next to Coatbridge. I have a future video planned with a friend who lives just behind Airdrie, and he only stays 4 miles away from me, and you won't believe the difference in our accents. I can't wait to make this video. As I've said before in other Scottish accent videos, everybody's accent is different, not only in different towns, but just from person to person. So the words that I'm about to tell you are the way I pronounce them, and that is by no means the way everybody in Coatbridge speaks, but this is just my own personal way of talking. So here's a set of words that sound quite similar, but people say them differently. So the words are Stair, Fair, Hair, Care, Blair and Clare. A lot of people say those words like that, but the way I say them is Stair, Hair, Fair, Care, Blair and Clare. And when I used to work in Airdrie, a lot of people used to always slag me for that, and to slag somebody is to basically rip the piss. So I had a boyfriend at the time and his name was Blair, and my best friend was called Claire, and when I went into work people would go, oh how's Blair and Claire? Because I say it as if it's spelt with an E. But like I say, that's not really only a Coatbridge and Airdrie thing, it's really just depending on the way the person speaks. So with all that being said, I hope this video wasn't too confusing. I just wanted to get a little bit more into depth of the Scottish accent and the way some people in Scotland speak. If you would like to see more Scottish accent comparison videos or videos of the history of Scotland, I'll leave the link for the playlist in the description box below. Let me know in the comments section what you thought of this video, if you could understand a word I was saying, or even recommend videos that you would like to see. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Bye!